Hello and welcome to episode 198 of the Filmmakers podcast. This is a podcast where we talk filmmaking from indie film to studio films and everything in between. How to get them made, how to make them, and how to try not to F it up, in our very, very humble opinion. I am Giles Alderson. I'm a writer, director, and a producer.
And I'm Lucinda Rhodes Thackeray, owner of Picture Perfect, and I am an independent film producer.
And today we are talking to the fantastic Kim and Amy Datnow. Not only have they made their feature film Daddy Issues, but they did so many jobs while they made this movie. Amy was the writer. She worked in the art department, she did costumes, and she produced the movie, whereas Kim, she was the lead actress and she also produced the movie, as well as doing many, many other jobs while making this movie Daddy Issues, which is out now and has an amazing release strategy. What else did you learn from Amy and Kim, and what can the audience learn from this, Lucinda?
Well, two very interesting points, actually. They spoke about how the sound effects made such a difference to a movie, and also very interesting on how they raised the finance for this.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's going to be amazing for our listeners to hear, for you wonderful people to hear. They also talk about how they got their private investment, how each project is a mini business, how they did their pitch decks, and dealing with contracts and sales agents. It is a really cool episode. The girls are so much fun. We had issues with sound.
The sound makes such a difference to a movie.
It does. But we personally had issues with Zoom, so we tried to go on Zoom at first, and then we went on Squadcast. That messed up. We went back to Zoom. So bear with us if the sound is a little bit all over the place, but it's still a wonderful episode and you will learn loads from this. Myself and Lucinda do sit down and have a wonderful chat with them. But Lucinda, you have just wrapped your movie Confession literally a couple of weeks ago.
We have.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. How kind of you. Yeah, it was
pleasure.
Obviously we shot Confession during the second lockdown. And you can imagine we're a week away from shooting, and Saturday there's an announcement from Boris Johnson to say we're going into second lockdown. So on the Saturday night, I had numerous emails from all different departments. Are we still going ahead? Well, of course we are. We're still going ahead. Yeah. We lost our accommodation. We lost some of our locations. Everything kind of went like to shit. So
do you think this is because people freaked out because of the COVID thing, and because they were like, oh, I'm going to stay in my house now, I'm going to, with the locations and etc.?
They just decided not to open the doors. So the accommodation that we had booked just said, no, we're not opening during the lockdown. So that was that. So I had to go and find somebody to house 30 people, if you like, 25 to 30 people. Oh my gosh.
And literally a couple of nights before.
And I had people coming from all over the country, from Wales, from London, from up north, everywhere. Yeah. So they were worried because obviously they wanted to continue. Nobody wanted to pull out of the gig at all. Everybody wanted to continue. We had very strict COVID guidelines in place. And we had a documentation of like 10 pages. Everything was in place, so there was no reason not to continue. But there was extra stress, obviously, added for myself and Jeet Thackeray, the other producer, and obviously the director. But it went very successfully. I sighed a huge relief when we wrapped to go, oh my God, we kept everybody safe. Because apart from making a film which is already very, very stressful and difficult, you have everything on top, all those layers on top.
Did it make it slower for you? Did it make things run a bit slower on set? Or once things had got moving, was it similar to normal?
Well, we were all bubbling together, obviously, in the accommodation, and we had bubbled all the different departments. So the camera team didn't really need to step into the space of the production design team. The production design team didn't really need to step into the space of makeup and costume. The script supervisor was separate from the director, who was in his own little cubbyhole in the church, because we shot mainly the bulk of the movie in a church, which is very big and spaced out. A bit like Caerphilly Castle, which we shot Arthur and Merlin.
Which is out now, everyone, and you can watch it.
On what platforms, Giles?
Many platforms, Sky Movies. But it's actually, speaking of which, it's just come out in America. I only found out via a tweet. Did you see that?
I haven't seen that. But
there you go. Arthur Merlin. It's out now in America and Canada. There you go.
Oh, brilliant.
Got released. There you go, woohoo! So you can watch it there as well now if you fancy. Or me and Lucinda running around fields in swords and sandals. We were wearing sword and sandals and we were running around fields. Well, we weren't.
Let's bring it back to be sensible now, Giles. I know it's not a skill we have, but let's try and continue for our good listeners.
But yes, for our listeners who think that this is an intelligent, informative podcast.
And professional.
Please.
We're in a big space. I'm sorry, guys, that are listening. I'm very sorry about this, but we were in a big space, so we were able to keep a distance at all times, and everybody wore a mask apart from at meal times, and everybody sat in their departments at all the different set tables in our dining room space. So it worked out fine in the end. And how did you find Stranger in Our Bed? Yeah,
it's the same. I mean, we all got tested on the first day when we all arrived on set, so that it was great that we did that, and thankfully no one was positive. Everyone got negative, which means they were positive. It's a weird thing, isn't it? It's a double positive, double negative thing where you're actually negative, but that means it's positive. So anyway, and that was really great that no one had it, which meant we could carry on with our day, but it meant that on that first day I'd lost an hour. We couldn't move anything in, all that kind of stuff. And when you're on a tight schedule anyway, and you're kind of moving from one room to the next in this big manor house we were at first, it can slow you down, but it was great. It was kind of like being on a normal set, but you just had to communicate much more with your eyes. You had to communicate much louder with your voice. You had to be very clear, and people were very respectful of other people, and that was really lovely to see. People would, like you say, everyone was in their own little groups, and we all stayed in the bubble in the manor house, and the same thing at meal times. People just stayed to themselves and took the mask off to eat, but the rest of the time everyone had masks on. The only people that didn't were the actors and me on occasions later on when we were all clear after the 14 days. So it's I found it, in the end, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. First thought when we're going to be in COVID and we're going to be trying to make a movie like this, I thought, oh God, this is going to be really difficult. And actually, it's very doable. It's very doable. How did you find interesting? Because we had a big conversation before we started about monitors. Yes. Because people like to huddle around Video Village. So we had as many monitors as we could. And we brought TVs from the house and all sorts, like after a few days, because there was too many people around the monitor. So we just said, look, let's take as much as we can. And there was something set up on, I didn't get it in the production office because I was too far away, but people had set up links on their phones so they could watch it on their phones. Right. I think that was our sound department had set that up. And they gave everybody a code. Yeah, so that was interesting. That's a really good way of doing it. No, we didn't do that. We had one big main monitor, which was, you were only allowed near that at certain times. And, the art department would come in and look first. I had my own monitor. But like I say, well, of course, yeah, I'm big time. But after, the 14 days and no one has it, it changes things. It does change the situation. But everyone, again, was very respectful of that and stayed away. And only people were allowed to see who were allowed to see at certain times. And that was very well managed and very well organized. But to be honest, I found the whole thing really incredible. Making a film right now, both of us, the fact that we've done that, you with Confession, me with The Stranger in Our Bed, is an incredible feat. And to be honest, I found myself ridiculously grateful that we've actually managed to do that, and we created work for people, not me necessarily, but you certainly with yours. And I think you should be commended for that. And I think my team of Terry Dwyer and Dean Fisher should be commended for that, because I think getting anyone work at this stage, and like I say, I feel humbled and massively grateful to be working as a director right now. And now I'm going into post in the edit, and I'll still be working. And as much as it's amazing I'm making a movie, I also feel it's a weird feeling, because we're talking on this podcast about making films, and we're lucky enough to make films, and so many people out there aren't, and they're going to struggle because of COVID and how difficult it is. And I don't know, there was something about that hit me after we wrapped on literally 2 days ago, and I had this amazing elation and this amazing feeling the next morning when I woke up I felt really great. But then something else hit me, which was, oh my God, how lucky am I? How grateful should I be for this? And yeah, massively. I honestly feel like, wow, how lucky am I to be doing this? I don't know if you felt that way. And I know you create your own work, I do, but you've done amazingly well.
Interesting to obviously hear what you've said about it. I think because it was so much on my brain the whole time, and I was so aware of keeping everybody safe, that at the end I just went, oh my God, thank God. And that was it. It was a relief that everybody was healthy.
Yes.
But hearing what you've said about what an achievement it is, I suppose I hadn't had time to reflect on that. I am a little bit more now that the dust has settled and we've all rested and things. I suppose what I am thinking about since hearing the latest announcement, obviously prior to Christmas, about numbers rising is how will we survive next year, keeping everybody safe? And are the guidelines going to be stricter? I know that they've extended the restart scheme.
Yeah, which is incredible. Great. Yeah. And insurance schemes is great. You know, there's 500 billion has been pumped in. It was 500 billion, wasn't it? And that's incredible for insurance, for filming. So, and as soon as I get more news next week, I'll fill you guys in. If I know anything more, if I hear anything, I'll definitely let everyone know. Yeah, so I don't know how it's going to be next year because we've both got projects that hopefully are going early next year, and we want to make sure that we can do them safely and in the right way and make sure everyone is safe.
There's also a big contingency that executives now have to, or producers and executives have to discuss constantly about having that COVID budget line.
Yeah, it's got to be in there now. It has to be.
And if even though, you know, some of us make low independent features, and execs and producers are trying to keep it to a certain figure, you know, to be able to make returns for everybody, executives and financiers are going to have to think about finding the extra or just working it that we can keep on top of that. And it's really important. And I think that could affect production. I don't know. It depends on the type of movie you're making, whether you're swashbuckling in a forest or whether you're two people working in a big space in a church. I think it really depends on that.
I totally agree. I think it's going to be really interesting what's going to happen. How much do you reckon percentage-wise you should prepare, or producers should prepare to put in the budget for COVID?
That's something we're still discussing actually moving forward. Ours was 3 to 5% of confession, I think, off the top of my head. But it depends on the size of the crew as well.
It does.
I mean, if you've got 100, 200 people, then that percentage is going up. And it depends on what the budget of the film is, how many people you've got. So it's not just like a sweeping statement of, it's 10% or 25% of the budget, which I have heard people say. But logically, for what I believe, it's the size of the crew, the size of the team, and the budget level.
Yes, and it's around £100 a person per test. So that means if you've got 30 crew, well, you know, there's already $3,000 a week that goes. So yeah, it could go up to 10 grand, but maybe more because you've got extra areas to do, or extra monitors to hire, extra cables, which means you might need an extra person, which is then another extra test. So everything will add up. So I think if you look between 5 and 10% for sure at the moment, and then as soon as new laws come in and what we know, then at least you're prepared and your budget is aware and your investors are aware of this is going to cost more. Right? Otherwise, we're cutting corners elsewhere, and it's so hard to make independent films on the budgets we're making them for anyway. You've always got to let the investors know at this stage, I think.
Giles, did you have a Tom Cruise moment at all?
No, I didn't. I didn't have a Tom Cruise moment. But yeah, that would have been interesting, wouldn't it? First day. You guys! I'm saving the industry, you guys! It's me! Brilliant. Fair play to him, though. I mean, fair play. He's putting money into that. I do get it. It's maybe a bit too far, but I do get what he was saying. It's his production company. He actually, didn't he pay like $500,000 for all the crew to be living together in a hotel? So he paid for that out of his own pocket. So I don't know. Yeah, I didn't have a Tom Cruise moment. Did you?
No. I may have got cross a couple of times and said, did you? Guys, can you just stay further apart? But that's just because, as the producer of the film, I was trying to keep everybody safe.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So if you see somebody step slightly forward, or you start going, having a freak out. And I'm constantly the hand sanitizer as well. Always. But, and some people, they wash their hands and they don't sanitize after, but they have their own personal rules as well.
We are next week, everyone. We are doing a very special Christmas type quiz get together, talk about filmmaking, talk about a year in COVID and film with pretty much all the hosts who have co-hosted with you and with me this year. So it's going to be myself, Dom, I think Phil Hawkins is coming, Dan Richardson, Christian James, Lucinda, I think Matt and Tori, if they can get a mic together, Ian Sharp. I think there's others, Andy, Roger, obviously. So yeah, I think that's going to be a great laugh. So do join us next week for that, for our 199th episode. And the week after is our 200th episode, January the 5th. Do join us. We have recorded already with our very special guest, of which I'm going to tell you who it is next week. So I know I'm cruel and mean, but that means they might listen next week. So to us lot rambling on with that Xmas special. So do join us next week for that. But for now, myself and Lucinda are joined by Kim and Amy Datnow for the fantastic chat with the girls about their feature film, Daddy Issues. Do enjoy.
Internet service is a lot like my father. It doesn't do what it promises and then dies. What? What are you doing here?
You're living in your dead boss's old house, pretending that you're going to renovate the deck.
I'm going to renovate the deck.
So you're like a dad, kind of?
Not a dad, just dating a mom.
You have kids?
And she has a child, baby child. Your dad is important to me.
I never get to prove myself to him now.
If it makes you feel any better, my dad doesn't even talk to me. I'm a lesbian.
I'm not in a hurry for the physical component. Want to watch that Harry Potter marathon on FX?
I haven't been funny since he died.
You're always funny.
I've stopped chasing the approval of guys that I don't think are right for me. They smell just like him.
Yeah, those are actually my clothes.
So good to see you.
Yeah, so good to see you too. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. So look, obviously we're here to chat about everything you girls are doing, which is incredible. And Daddy Issues is such a cool film. It's really interesting and really well made. And I love how you just sort of, it seems like you just went out there and did it. You were like, and this is what this podcast is all about. It's people like yourselves just going out there and doing it. And it's what I try and inspire on this podcast. So how did you start? Why did you go set out on this journey?
Wow. We were living apart from each other, and then our father sadly passed away. And we'd talk about how it kind of affected our dating lives, and kind of joke about the relationship you have with your dad and how does it affect modern dating, how does it affect you in relationships. And we were interested to make a film about that subject.
Yeah, like Amy would always call me up and I'd always call her up, and we'd always talk about dating mishaps, with like modern, all the apps and things. And I remember calling her up once and telling her about this guy I met at uni, and then she was like, what's his name? And I looked through my phone and it was like the guy I walked up the hill with, Dan, so it's like, all that kind of modern day millennial kind of life, basically.
Swipe culture is modern day.
Swipe culture. It's so funny. I'm not involved in that, and neither's Lucinda. It's like we just missed the boat on it totally.
It skipped, because we're both married, it skipped our kind of dating generation, didn't it? I still hear stories from my girlfriends, and the dating scene sounds like horrifically difficult compared to maybe when we were younger. Going off subject a little bit, but it's all part of the movie, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
So, Amy, you were living in Israel at the time. Was that writing screenplays, or were you a journalist?
Yeah, I was actually working as a journalist, which was super interesting. And I was reporting on like the local tech startup scene. It's really, really great time. I loved it there.
Yeah, I've been there a few times. I've been on holiday many times. It's an amazing place to visit, and it's so not what people think. and it's just so creative and fun. And I think per capita, I think it's 50% people are vegan there as well, which to me is like, yeah, it's music to my ears. And there's just so much going on creatively, and I think that was really interesting. Were you always creating stuff there as well? Were you always thinking, okay, that I want to make something?
But it's such an inspiring place because the majority of people are doing startups. If you go to a bar, it's like you meet someone and everyone's in a startup. So it's like so creative and really creatively invigorating, I found it.
I was in Los Angeles actually at the time, and I remember, I was having a much different life to Amy, like living the like almost high life in LA. I remember going to this party of this guy that had just won an Oscar. So he had got a bit of money, but so he had bought a place in the Hollywood Hills. And I remember just going into the house, and it was this huge like industry party with loads of celebs there. And he had no furniture in the house, but just his Oscar on his mantelpiece.
Amazing.
I went down to his room where he composes all the music, and it was like, that feeling where you're like, I've arrived in Hollywood. It was moment.
Well, what made you go over there in the first place? Because obviously you got your stand up, you're doing your comedy, and you're doing lovely bits of acting here and there. What was your reason to go over in the first place?
I had work out there. I was doing some acting work on a few TV shows, and then I sort of was in other people's projects, which I absolutely loved, and I was in some really, really great TV shows, like quite big ones. And then I got involved in the indie film world and helped out on set with a couple of friends' productions, and just absolutely loved the production element of it, and actually being able to tell stories that I was really passionate about, and collaborate with people that were similar. So I've always been quite entrepreneurial. So to me, that appealed more than working on massive sets. And so I just kept going and just kept working on other people's films as a producer. And then when Amy and I realized that we both had really similar creative interests, we decided to set up our own production company. And that's basically how this film started.
And this is your first, isn't it? Your first, sorry, Giles, it's your first feature together, isn't it?
Feature together, yes. Yeah.
And apparently we're the only sister production company in the UK. So apparently there's lots of brothers, but no sister productions.
It's quite good. Yeah. It's good working with your sister, like you might think that we still have those like kind of roles of when we were younger, like I played the older sister role and Amy's like the younger sister, but the good thing is that we do get on very well, and in terms of creative decisions we never disagree on those. So even though we we sometimes do disagree, we always come round to whatever in the end. So it's really, really nice working with family. I think more people should do it. I can't believe we're the only sister production.
I agree with you. I work with my husband, and it's a dream. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's so important. Yeah, there is the Shakespeare sisters. They made a film called Soundtrack to 16 recently, which so they're another amazing sister couple. But yeah, it's so I just think it's great that anyone can do that. You've got the opportunity to make something with someone else who's very close to you, and you know everything about them, right? I mean, I've never worked. My sister's she's a graphic designer, so she wouldn't do that. So I think it's fascinating where you know all the foibles, when they're in a mood or saying something that they don't mean, or because you can preempt that. You're like, well, when we were 4, do you know what I mean? I know that face. I've seen it many times.
We were able to juggle roles on set, and I know Amy so well, and she's such a great writer, and I'm more of a producer organizer. So on set, I was juggling 2 jobs, and Amy was also on screen for like a tiny scene, made it look really easy. So, I mean,
how annoying.
She's obviously a natural. But yeah, so it was nice to be able to rely on her in that way, and almost a dream come true to just, like you said, work with family.
Obviously this came from truth as well, and your lives. Was it kind of like, let's just do something based on what we know, based on what we're doing at the time? Because you could have gone anywhere with any story. You could have said, right, let's set in a spaceship and let's do it this way. What was the reason to sort of go kind of truthful with it and trying to something quite honest and use your stand-up and use what you know and your father's the situation? How come you wanted to do that?
Well, it saved us years on therapy bills.
Perfect answer.
No, well, I totally agree with that. And also, because our father had just passed away in real life, so that was a springboard for the film, and it's something that we thought a lot of people could relate to. And we always make films for the millennial generation, and the ones that are coming up are always female-driven films for the millennial generation. So we thought it was really important to tell a story about children that are moving home, because they can't afford the rent, and parents maybe regretting how they bring their children up, because in general there's no sort of support or training of how to do that or to kind of live as an adult. So I think this film brings together both sides of that coin, and it's what your parents leave you with when they pass away, which and what effect that has on your life. In COVID times, it's just a really happy, uplifting film which we wanted to make, just to make so people can laugh at themselves. Perhaps they relate to it and just escape for a little while all the craziness that's happening at the moment.
Yeah.
Henry was a very relatable character, because she had all the flaws that a lot of women of our age do, actually, especially being single. And I thought you played her really lovely. Just talking about casting, because I was wondering, you had some very nice characters involved there, and you really seemed like real friends, uni friends. How did you go about with the casting process? Did you have a casting director, or did you do it yourself?
We did it ourselves. We got a lot of people from, do you know UCB? It's a comedy theatre that was it Amy Poehler set up. So a lot of people were comedy actors from that theatre, because we love the style that comes across on screen. It's quite organic, and we let them ad-lib a lot. And we did a table read before, which we let everyone kind of go off and just have fun with it and play their characters. So I think that created a kind of really good feeling on screen eventually.
Yeah, I think also we did sort of 4 takes, and then we did the kind of see what happens take, and the director just sort of allowed the actors to go off script a bit. So sometimes, in the edit, those are the best takes because everyone was a lot looser. And I think definitely with comedy, you need to have a good ensemble cast and a really good dynamic. So we really tried to bring it to life in that way as well. And
really gets to the heart of your character, and I really enjoyed it a lot. What was there any films that you liked that were similar? Or films growing up that inspired you to sort of go, and then later on you realised you were wanting to put that into Daddy Issues? Well,
like most 90s kids, we were obsessed with all the rom-coms growing up, and 2000s, like Mean Girls, and we actually referenced a lot of them in the film with the set design. So we had the Boy Box, which was a reference to the Mean Girls burn book, and we just are obsessed with 90s and 2000s rom-coms because they're such a vibe, they're such a look, aren't they?
Yeah, we even So those were some of the references, and also we used, because we were influenced by family events and our father, we also managed to use our dad's, some of his clothes. So in one we've got his jumper.
Yeah, we tried to make it as personal as possible. So we used his jumper, we used pictures of us as kids.
Because Amy, you were the costume designer as well, weren't you? Because you had lots of, it's amazing because you both had so many different hats. Obviously, Kimberley, you were the leads and you were producing and also part of the script. And Amy, obviously, writing, costume.
Yeah, art department as well. Everything. Was that something you set out to do? You were like, or was it just necessity?
I love, art direction, but it was necessity because when you're making a smaller a smaller size production, you have to like go and put a lot of different hats on. But I think we pulled it off all right.
You did. It was great.
Yeah.
I mean, it really does prove that you can do it and juggle a lot of different hats. But I think we also kind of sat down and had meetings with the director about sort of the color palette of the film, and we had a lot of references.
Yeah, like from Lena Dunham's work. I don't know if you know Frances Ha, the Mumblecore movie.
Yeah, Frances Ha's great. Yeah,
such a good film, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And we sourced a lot from like Topshop and things, and luckily they had just opened up in LA, so we were able to like get what we loved there when we were there, and didn't have to bring it all over. So that saved some.
Yeah, that would have saved a bit, and then you can take them back at the end. Keep some of the tags on, and then maybe you can take them.
That's terrible, Giles. That's terrible things to say.
It's filmmaking, right? You got to do whatever you can to keep money in. If you could spend that on a Facebook ad or whatever for the film.
Yeah, there were certain little things that we did that did save us money, but we actually also had a really good art director who made all the props on the set and made a bottle of wine that had the director's name on it that we used.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah.
And like really subtle things that when we watch it, we're like, oh, you can
a little joke to us.
Personal.
That's nice. And it was Laura Holiday was your director. How did you get her involved? But she's American, right? So did you bring her in from when you were over in LA? How did you meet?
We basically met her through people that we knew in UCB, and we were just interviewing quite a number of people, and she just had the same love of our references,
of our comedy that we were really into.
Yeah, and her color palette and her sensibilities were really, really on point with what we wanted to create. So it was literally just putting word out and just basically going through the selection process.
And did she bring the DP, Douglas Dugar? Is that right?
Yes, yeah, he was really great because we had this style in the film of static shots. So I think there was only 2 shots that we actually had on a camera rig, and one of those was when we did the car scene, and he actually made a whole camera rig for the car.
Wow.
Which was incredible.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's very much the style of the film, and we saw some of Laura's and his work together on her showreel, and it looked really good. So that was why we went with him, and they work really well together, which is really important, I think, for a director to be comfortable with the DP.
It absolutely is. And if you bring a director on, if they recommend a DP, it's kind of like, yeah, let's really take that seriously. I mean, because it's fascinating. Anyone who makes a movie, it's an amazing achievement. It's so hard. You know how difficult it is. You've done it, and you brilliantly now got a movie out, and it's so cool. Oh. When you started this process, did you think it'd be as difficult as it is? Or did you just go, look, let's throw everything in and kind of see what happens? It'd be really interesting to see your mindset at the beginning as to how it is now. And would you have done things differently?
As a producer, I think I take a more sort of business approach to it. And, it's just been a case of extending some of the timelines because, I had this idea of how long it would take, and then it was just like literally doubling that and more. But I think it was mainly because we just wanted to work with the best creatives, and we didn't want to finish the film until we were really, really happy with the final product. Like, we wanted to get it perfect. And so we waited for those, for like the colorist and the sound guy, because we wanted to perfect those things. And obviously the really good people, there is a time wait for them.
Totally. They're working on other things, they're busy, or they're doing their downtime, so you have to ask for favors, right?
Exactly. Like we found some great people and recommendations that worked at big studios, and they would do this as a passion project because they wanted to work on an independent film that they loved and thought would be interesting for them. So we were lucky to find some amazing people for the post-production. And then I think that was the part of it that took a lot longer than I had expected. I think the filming was really efficient. We managed to film it in 2.5 weeks, and everything went really smoothly for that, apart from once when we lost a jacket. I don't know, there's a scene where she's wearing a leopard print jacket, and we
okay.
We did it in another scene. The
jacket didn't exist anymore in the shop.
It just fell off. It was just gone. Yeah.
And then find a leopard print jacket that looked exactly the same from somewhere else, and that was
and then it just wasn't the same leopard.
Isn't it funny though? How we as filmmakers go, oh my god, everyone's going to notice this. And so many people probably just didn't even notice. They go, there was something odd about it, but you don't. You kind of, if you're falling in love with the characters and the story, you kind of go with it, right?
Yeah, you go with the journey, don't you?
We'd sit in the editing suites, we'd get Deliveroo, and we'd just have sessions in the evening of and they were the funnest times because it's the most creative you can be, apart from on set obviously where you make all the choices, but actually adding sound effects and things. It's amazing how much those stand-up scenes were brought to life by the laughter that because we literally filmed that on a brick wall, and then
really, I wondered that. Okay.
and then we just did it all in post. So when they say you can do it all in post, it's kind of true.
You actually can. You can do a lot. Where did you do all the post? Was it in the UK or in LA?
We brought it back to the UK to do the post because we were living mainly in the UK, so it was easier for us.
Got you.
And I think the UK also, it's really exciting to be part of the film industry in the UK, and I think that there's a lot of new exciting things happening, and we have such a good talent pool for colorists and writers, and I think that's one of the things the UK does best, just because we have such good training schemes for people. So I'm really glad we did bring it back, and that we did that a little bit longer on the post.
Did she cut it from her home? Was she editing it in her house? Did she have her own studio, or were you in a post-production facility?
We were actually in her house for a bit of it. She did have a place that she was working that we went to a bit, but in her house it was nice and cozy, and we ordered lots of food. She's Italian, so her Italian family, it's amazing coffee, and it's a good time.
That's great. Yeah, I've edited, I think, all my movies in people's houses. It's just, there was a little bit in the studio in Bulgaria, but most of it's been in Ollie's house, just because why not? We've got a place there, let's do it this way. And it's nice to go in studios sometimes and big setups, but it's kind of not as cozy as going in someone's house, because you can just nip down, get a coffee, order food in. I know you can do that in the big places, but it's quite personal, isn't it? It's a nice way to do it.
It also cuts your overheads.
Absolutely, yeah. And when you're making a low budget or micro budget movie, you have to do whatever you can to make it happen, to come in on the budget you've got.
Yeah.
It's always cutting corners. You have to.
It was really cool because when we edited the film, we did it in Sienna's house, and that we kind of thought that's how you're going to watch a film anyway, on your in your living room, because it was straight to SVOD anyway. So it was nice to see it like that. But then because we used we didn't go to a post house, we had lots of different people doing color and sound and everything. So the actual colorist did it in the cinema in this massive office in central London that had loads of Emmys and Oscars when you walked in the door in this cabinet. But he had this huge lighting board and was doing it all in the cinema.
We wanted to sort of jump back a little bit as well to sort of discuss how it all kind of started, and in terms of, obviously you came up with the idea. How did you set about writing it, Amy? How was that for you? Did you do it together in that sense? I know, Amy, you're the writer, but the ideas together, and did you just sit, and how did you do that? Literally, were you putting boards up with ideas?
Yeah, it was definitely a massive collaborative process. We wanted to write only stories that we'd heard that were true stories. I think I heard once in Sex and the City that they only have stories in there that they actually, someone in the writer's room lived. We wanted to kind of the same approach. And then Kimberley was also involved collaboratively with the story, and it chopped and changed quite a lot. And Laura was really helpful in developing
the areas of, like, that we wanted to develop.
Yeah. My good friend John Cox basically wanted to write something after my father had passed away because he thought that something should be told on that. So he penned something out which was really good. And then what was amazing is we got loads of creative input on it, and we managed to come up with something that was shootable on the budget and also very collaborative in what it turned out to be. So what we originally thought it might be was definitely very different, having had different creative minds and different input, which is really exciting about filmmaking.
It never turns out how you imagine it, but that's part of the excitingness of the process.
Yeah, it never does. And were you doing that across the pond, if you like? You were doing that, you were in LA and you were sending stuff backwards and forwards, or were you, with the director as well? How were you doing that?
It was a lot of ping-ponging back and forth. And we did go out to LA quite a bit to kind of think about locations. And when we were writing with the locations that we could get. So because smaller micro budget films, you need to really think about writing for the budget.
Oh, we found this great location, and I can't remember where it was, but it was a lot of filmmakers there. So it was one of those places where it's easier to get a permit in LA because it's really hard to shoot in LA because everyone wants to shoot there. So we managed to find this place, and it was really everyone was sharing crafty by the end, because we were like, okay guys, we just need to do some pickup in this area, and we were just all very helpful with each other. So the writing process worked really well online because we've got the advantage of being able to work collaboratively in that way. But yeah, when we shot it, we actually lived in the house that
she lived in.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we'd wake up every morning and we wouldn't have to travel very far to go to set.
It created a really nice atmosphere on set because a lot of people lived there because it was a massive house. And in the evening after we were so tired, and the director's a really good musician, and we'd kind of jam out, and it did create a really nice friendship on set.
That's I like that. You mentioned there, in terms of knowing what your budget was, did you know from the beginning then what your budget was? Did you have an aim of, even before you finished writing it, of we think we can make it for this much?
I think we actually tried to write to budget, and we did know how much it would be, and then we had to do another round of funding during post because there was a few elements of the film that we weren't 100% happy with, but definitely for the shooting script we managed to keep within budget for that, which was sort of due to creative thinking, like Dylan doing the camera rig and
having less moving shots and panning and tilting very sparingly,
and making
part of the style of the film.
And having lots of pizza and making sandwiches for everyone.
With regards to the finance, so you didn't have a financial backer or financial partner on this. Did you crowdfund? Is that or how did you go about raising the finance? Because funny enough, Giles and I are always in talks with financiers and sales agents, and a lot of people say if you want to make a rom-com, you have to have star cast. Now, you girls have done it wonderfully. There's no big names in it, and you've still got it off the ground. It's a great film. So how did you go about getting past that process and people mentioning things like that?
I've done film for a while, so I would go to Berlin Film Festival and Cannes Film Festival, and just basically go to events. There's some really, really, really good events to meet people in Berlin, especially, and just talk to investors, talk to people that are private investors, and get them on board with the excitement of the project. And there's always people that want to support young filmmakers and believe in their vision. And so mainly we had private investment from one guy. I think he was a real estate entrepreneur, that was kind of older and just loved the idea of the glamour of filmmaking, and was happy to put some money behind it. And in return, we gave him tickets to the premiere, and would send him updates of shots of the on shoot, and then different clips of the film. So we just made all the investors feel really a part of the process, and we invited them to set, and we hope that those will be long-standing relationships. And for the next film, which we're developing at the moment, we're looking forward to going to them with the scripts, and we're keeping in touch with them with the pitch packets and things, just to try to get that extra bit of funding, because I think that the development funding can be really difficult to get, but I think that once now we've made this film, it's hopefully going to be easier. Have the track record as a production company.
Totally, yeah.
And hopefully we can go through to those investors. But I would agree in certain respects that horror is a better genre if you don't have talent. I think romantic comedies do a lot of the time require talent, and that was one of the things when we were distributing it and talking to Netflix and things. We kind of just missed the bar with that, because I think they were keen to see talent in rom-coms. But at the same time, it's a shame that the industry operates like that. Because,
yeah, agree.
Yeah, because I mean, it doesn't really allow for new talent to come through, and we really wanted to showcase that in this film, because it's actually cooler to be involved with a film where you've got like 5 or 6 people that are up and coming, and then in 10 years time they're really big names, and they're like, oh yeah, we made our film with them. So we had some really great, like Corsica Wilson was in a film, it's quite a big indie actress and is quite known in the indie world, and she was in A World, which was shot a few years ago, and she is so talented and has a great look. And I think and Kimmy, who played the girlfriend of Alice, she's now a series regular. So quite a number of the actors are really coming up. And then we also work with Peter Jason, who's a Hollywood legend, who was in Deadwood and Jurassic Park and worked with Meryl Streep and things, and would tell us all these stories about working with Meryl Streep and how good with improvisation she was, and thinking on her feet and things. So it was really cool to work with those like older actors, and these are kind of experiences that you probably wouldn't get if you had more of a star cast. So
I think that's great. I think it's a really good attitude, and I think it's inspiring to so many filmmakers listening, and that how you start in this industry is so hard. It's one of those things where you're banging your head against the wall because they say, well, you need cast, or you need money, or you're going to be in it and you're directing it. Well, I don't know. And you're constantly up against that wall, and it's really difficult until you've made one. And then it's slightly easier, but it's still difficult too.
It's still difficult. You can make, it's always, you go back to the first stage again. You've finished a movie, but every time you start a new project, you're always starting again.
Always. It doesn't matter how good they are. Yeah, always starting again.
I like to think of each project as like a mini business, because I think you're always sort of starting a business, and I think that's the kind of hat that I like to put on, because it feels like you're working towards something. But it's the best kind of business because it's very creative, and ultimately you have something to show for it at the end, which is timeless.
Keep forever, totally. You can show your grandkids, and they can show their grandkids, hopefully. Yeah,
And also, like, we're aging, and that's sort of stuck in time, like frozen in time. So, you always look young, and
it's true, and you can look the best you can ever look in a film. You've been lit well. Someone's come and done your makeup and hair. It's look at me, I look great. When you mentioned there, but I love the fact that you said it's like everyone's a new mini business. I think that's really interesting and great. When you were pitching to your investors, what did you deliver to them? What did you give to them? Were you just doing it verbally, or were you giving them packs and memorandums and information? It'd just be really interesting to know.
So we put together quite a concise package of comparable films that have achieved things, and pitching where it could go and what the storyline was, and we put that together, and I think that was quite an effective way of doing it.
Yeah, I think people like to see a lot of pictures, a lot of visuals, because it's a visual medium. And I think that, it was important for them to see the synopsis. But in general, I think they were just really excited about our enthusiasm for the project, because they were older investors, and they're used to property, or like used to, I don't know, one of the guy was ex-army, and so I mean, that world is very different to our world. So I think there is still a romanticism about filmmaking,
to bring them in and get them involved. That's what they wanted. So
yeah.
It's very true. You're right. And I certainly know that's how I got my first movie made. It wasn't necessarily the project. It was my enthusiasm and my passion for it. And I think that's what everyone should do. You can have the best pack in the world, the best sizzle reel, whatever it is, the best information memorandum with all your budgets and everything done. But if you're not interesting, and they don't want to, they've got to want to work with you for the next however many years, and hopefully going on into the future, that's vital. It's so important that you come across well and you're passionate and you care. And when it's your story, you've written it, and you can't help but be enthusiastic about it and put that across. So that must have been really interesting. Was it an easy pitch when you were going? Were you literally going, hey, how did you even approach that kind of vibe? How did you even meet these people? Obviously you said in Berlin, but
I really did do like a push to get people interested before I went to Berlin, and sent out the pitch packet, and tried to have phone calls before, because people are meeting a lot of other people in Berlin, and so I think it's important to stand out, and basically
we made sure we stood out, because most people don't go actually into the film market themselves as filmmakers and pitch the actual film, but we did. We just went in there really confidently, and people actually appreciated that.
We hustled. We did
hustle. Yeah. You've got to. It's so important. But if you don't hustle, no one's going to do it for you. And this is what filmmakers seem to forget sometimes. They go, why isn't it happening for me? Why is it? Well, you've got to hustle. You've got to, like you say, turn up at events, turn up at whatever is going on, and say, hello, here's my business card. It might not go anywhere that time, but I've just had an amazing sort of couple of weeks with someone I'd met 10 years ago and didn't think anything of it. And now suddenly it's changed the courses of what I'm doing right now. And these little things that you just put in the work early, and in the long run, these things will pay off, especially if you're making things and you're doing okay. So I like that. I really like that.
People appreciate the upfront behaviour as well, and the enthusiasm and the ambition that comes with what filmmakers are about. Because some people are, too polite. Obviously, we must be polite, but to go in and just say, hey, look, we're going to make this movie. This is what we want to do. This is going to be awesome. You need to back it, because we're going to make you loads of money, and it's going to win loads of awards, or whatever you've got to say to get it across the line. Yeah. People really appreciate that.
Do you know, I think there was one time when our sales agent was in Cannes, and they did a few film markets, and the ones that were in Europe we tried to go to. And I remember once walking in, and he was pitching our film, and then he was like, "Oh my God, here you go! Like, here's the actress in the film." And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." Like, I just I felt like very sort of overwhelmed that I was suddenly in this position of actually, needing to pitch to the distributor. But, I think ultimately they did buy it. I think it was a Turkish distributor. So I think things like that, just happy accidents. Like, there's so many of those things that happen.
Yes. Yeah.
And then, in terms of like, meeting someone and then 10 years later it works out. I think that's so common. Like, you meet a director that's amazing, but they're not free at that point. Or, in LA they say you're always working, because everyone's in the industry there, and so you meet so many people that make films, and so it's just really important. Also, I think, after you've made a film or 2 films or 3 films, just to also remember the people that are just starting out, and to always be kind and helpful to those people as well, because there's just so much kindness and giving needed. And, you know, we were lucky enough to meet some people that were also really helpful to us in getting the film off the ground. So in terms of just giving advice rather than money. So I'd say like whatever you can do to pay it forward is always going to come back round.
Love that. Totally. It's kind of our ethos here on the podcast.
Giles and I champion that massively. We're always talking about helping new filmmakers, and actually we do it quite a lot. And it's so nice that you guys feel the same. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, and we're happy. We have an Instagram page, at Clean Slate Productions, and if anybody listening wants to reach out and needs tips and things, but we're always more than happy to talk with people and answer any questions.
That's amazing. How nice. I love that. At Clean Slate even. I'll put that in the show notes as well. I'll put that little link in, and obviously a link to the film as well, which is so cool that people can buy on Amazon now. So in terms of when you were filming it, did you feel that everything was, you know, this is going well? Did you said there was hardly any issues, so hardly any daddy issues, so did you feel that did you feel that
very good
so I don't know did you feel that it was kind of, you know, because you had a great bunch of actors and it was just it was wonderful to watch. It was such a joy. I mean, I really enjoyed that, and I enjoyed the fact that you could see there was so much passion and care put into it. When you were filming it, did you think, okay, yeah, this is all right, or did you not know at the time? Were you just like, let's get through it day by day?
Well, it may have been a 2.5 week shoot, but we put so much work for months before for it to be perfect, so that nothing can go wrong when you actually get to the shooting stage. But also you have to let the reins go and just say, I've put the work in, hope for the best. And it looked really good. We were excited about it, but you never know it's going to cut well together. You just don't know. So at the shooting stage, I think you just have to let the reins go a little bit.
Yeah, I think we had a couple of really, really fun times on set, like we were saying earlier, with the pizza after every sort of evening, because we lived on the set, we'd have a little bit of a sort of debrief and just kind of a fun time. But then also when we had loads of ice cream on set for one of the scenes, Peter Jason stayed and was regaling old Hollywood tales of how he worked with Orson Welles and how he used to drive his Cadillac for him and buy him food, and how Orson Welles, throughout the period that he knew him, just put on loads of weight. And
he famously got very, very overweight. And that was, you know, but Peter Jason would go into it and be like, it's because he went to Burger King drive-through with his Cadillac and he'd order 100 burgers and eat them.
And he couldn't fit into the Cadillac by the end.
I'm not surprised. I've just watched that brilliant documentary on his last film, one of them that didn't get made, and the documentary is incredible. I can't remember the name of it, but it's the Orson Welles documentary. It's on Netflix right now, and it is brilliant. It's so fascinating about how his last film didn't get made and didn't get finished, and he shot it for years. And this is Orson Welles. He couldn't get money. It's just really interesting that someone so big and famous literally got himself so big and then sort of anti-famous in the end.
We're talking about the process, and nice that we were talking about Orson Welles going on to how he didn't actually get his last film completed. So, girls, you said that you had a time frame in mind. Obviously, you were waiting for some of the post-production team and the creatives to be able to give you their time. So you waited to get the best you could out of the project. So when you had this time frame to how long it actually took, what was the length of time and what was the difference?
I think that the post-production went on about 6 months longer, I
think it was mainly because we went with a post-production house because we had a low budget, and I think that there were certain things that we just wanted changed, and because they're such a big factory of films, I mean, they did some really, really great films and we were really excited to work with them, but I think that they just didn't have the time, and we didn't have the budget to be able to give what was needed in order to make it the best product it could be. So then we needed to think of other avenues and be resourceful, as you always need to be as an indie filmmaker, and figure out ways of finding talented people that could do that and spend time on it. And it would be those people that were recommended to us that were working at really big studios that could do it in the evening. So we almost acted as post production supervisors and actually procured them ourselves in the end. But I think if we did it again, I would definitely go to independent post production talent, because I think if you're doing it on a low budget, it's hard to afford the cost of a production house, because obviously they have so many overheads that they need
Yeah. Well, I mean, The Dare's 4 years. It's coming out in October. 4 years from when I first shot it.
Talk about The Dare again.
I know. I'm dropping it in. I can't help myself. Lucinda always ribs me about that. But that was 4 years. It took that long. You know, it was before we could do pickups, it was a year. So I totally get it when people say, oh, it's taken so long. It's like that. It does seem normal. It's a normal length of time. 4 years is probably pushing it. But 2 years, it just seems to be the way by the time they've actually done the circuits and done the whole, released in different countries and done the cinema runs, and then eventually they're going to come out on DVD somewhere. It's a long process. So, I mean, the fact that you've done it this quickly is amazing. The fact that it's just kind of you lot pushing it and just going, right, come on, we need to do that. And because you could have at any point gone, oh yeah, all right, well, we'll just wait. And the fact that you were knocking on the door going, no, well, let's get this out. Was there, so once you'd finished the film, at that point, had you already cut like a teaser reel that you could send to your sales rep concourse? Had that already been planned, or was that separate? Did you have them? When did you bring them on board, and when did you sort of push that, knowing how to sell the movie side?
Well, we actually had a bit of a battle with for like who wanted to take it on, sales agent.
Oh, a nice battle.
Oh, good.
I thought you were going to tell us a bad battle. Okay, good.
No.
So bidding war. Amazing.
Bidding war, yeah. So we had a bidding war, and we went with the agent that had done similar films to what we made. So he did an Aubrey Plaza film about nuns, which was kind of that sort of dark comedy that we were trying to hit.
Is that Bad Habits? Is that Bad Habits?
I think so. Yes. Yeah. So he was a sales agent for that, and he only had a few films on his slate, and he's told us he wasn't going to package his film with other films. So the process of finding a sales agent was quite rigorous, and it actually took a lot of reading through the contract very closely, because so ultimately we were negotiating terms, but we went with the Los Angeles sales agent rather than the New York sales agent, just purely because they had similar content, and we thought that they'd do better for the film than the New York agent that was a bit smaller. But I think it's interesting when choosing a sales agent, because it's such an important part of your profit margin, on this kind of film, and the investors were also keen to know who that would be, and that was we made a point of keeping them in the loop about our choices. But yeah, the negotiations were quite sort of grueling, because that's the money part of it, and that's the business part of it.
How did you learn that side of it? Because some people take years and years and years to learn how to deal with the distributor / sales agent on making sure you're not getting ripped off. And there's a lot of predatory distributors out there, and you've got to be very careful. So how did you approach that? What was your tactic?
Definitely. We kind of called in some favors from some lawyers in the industry that really helped us go through the contracts, which is so important.
Amazing. Yeah, well done. Yeah,
that was really good. And then also, I think we just literally went through the contracts and tried to negotiate terms where it was like to see if we could see the deals that they did and have approval of those deals before they were done. And it's actually a very opaque world when you get into distribution, because no one can actually, the producer doesn't necessarily get to keep track of the finances. There's been talk of doing blockchain.
Blockchain, okay, yes.
Blockchain on distribution, which I think would provide a much more transparent system to actually being able to sell films. But as it stands, you just have to go with someone you trust, because ultimately you just really need them to show you the figures and to make sure that you're getting the money back that they're telling you that's coming in.
Yeah, you've got it's just one of those things you just got to be on top of enough to know your stuff. And there's so many tricks and tips, and we'll do a whole podcast on it with Shaked Berenson about, sales and what to avoid and what not to. But it's just being aware of it. And like you did, due diligence, and speak to a lawyer who understands it and goes, okay, just don't let them do this. Okay, this is what you need to make sure the sales, the cap is no more than 30, or, is it a 7-year contract? Is it a 5? All that kind of stuff is really important. And just knowing it and understanding it and going, okay, all right. And like any business, they're okay to negotiate. People get very scared of going, oh my God, well, they've offered this, we better take it. And it's like, no, you can go in and say, I don't want 7 years, I want 5. And I don't want you to take 20%, I want you to take 15. Of course you can. And it must be nice to have that sort of bidding war as well for you, because then you could go, right, this is, we're going to learn this real quick and understand it as best as possible.
It was really fun, actually, because we were taken out in Cannes for dinner, and they were like trying to
really
why they'd be the better sales agent.
Wow.
And, we were wined and dined, and we just thought, this is the life.
Obviously, you get excited, and advice I give is hold out and wait and see if, through the festival circuit, you can get more people that are interested.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. One thing that is good to hold on to for people listening as well is educational rights. Educational rights, what that can do for you is it means you can take your film into any university and charge the university some money, do a screening, and then do a Q&A. If you don't have those educational rights, you have to ask every time. But if you own that, that's your money and you can do it. And it's just part of the tour, and you can do it as part of your theatrical tour as you're going around as well. And also another one as well, which I quite like, this little trick, is to own the VHS rights. There's quite a few collectors out there who will take your movie on a VHS, especially horror and especially sci-fi. So if you've got that kind of a movie, then hey, make sure you got those rights. No one wants those rights. They don't want them. So you go, yeah, I'll take them. And then you can sell it every Christmas and just make your own. It's very cheap to do these days. So that's another little tip as a couple. There's loads more coming up. During this sort of lockdown, everything that's happened, and with the film coming out in lockdown, and I've had a film out in lockdown as well, and it's kind of weird. Is there any new habit that either of you have learned that has been useful to your filmmaking?
I think this film is about sort of comedy. It's a comedy, and it's sort of about grief and friendship. So I think that in terms of it coming out through lockdown, I think that that's been something for people to grab onto, because in times like this we need to remember good friends and have a laugh. But I also think that it's been actually a blessing in disguise in a way coming out through lockdown, because it's meant that a lot more people are at home and have access to viewing it. And I have a lot of thoughts about what's been happening on Netflix and films like big films like Trolls that have gone straight to the SVODs rather than being in the cinema. And I think that the industry's sped up by at least 5 years, and become more technologically savvy. And especially Netflix has, being a tech business, just has some interesting models and ways of paying filmmakers on front end deals based on projected views, rather than traditionally it being kind of back end depending on royalty payments. So Netflix has really kind of taken everybody by storm, and I think the lockdown period's really accentuated that. But our film's available on Amazon, and that's another place, Amazon Prime, where it's pretty similar. And I think the statistics for Amazon Prime and Netflix are quite quite even in terms of what people watch.
They are, yeah. It's not far. People would think, because everyone says it, when do you film on Netflix? And you go, well, it's the last place I want to be, actually, in terms of course, it'd be amazing to be on Netflix because everyone goes, I can watch it on Netflix. But actually, you don't get any more money once it's on Netflix. They pay you their certain amount, and people, they go, well, it's free. It's on Netflix. I'm not going to buy the DVD now, am I? Whereas if it's on Amazon, people still buying it. People are interested. It's getting great reviews. People will go and seek it out. But if it's on Netflix, they go, well, it's free. So it's really one of the last places you should go as a filmmaker, because you can do airplanes yet, especially with a romantic comedy, whereas I can't do that with the horror. People don't want to see the horrors as much on an airplane, not ones like this anyway. But with romantic comedies, you've got so many places you can take it. You can keep going, So have you got any more plans next for the movie, or are you kind of just doing press and getting it out there and getting the voice out there? Are you planning to do some screenings? Are you planning to do when the lockdown's finished type thing?
Well, we've already got our next script on the go, so we're already pre-producing that and hoping that when lockdown lifts, we can be shooting that.
Amazing. Have you written that together?
Yes, yeah, we have, yeah. It's more thriller this time.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Excellent. Starring yourself again, Kim?
Yes, yeah. Hopefully, I mean, I might take a smaller part this time, just because I want to focus more on the producing element of it. What's been really fun actually in lockdown, it's forced us to think of new ways of getting our film out there. And we had the first social distancing premiere actually a couple of weeks ago, because it was at the time when only 6 people could gather together. And I think now we're back into that time. Yeah. But so what we had was like hand sanitizer, and we made our own face masks with quotes from the film on it. And we had Getty images down, and we had a little screening with 6 people that were involved in the film, which was
amazing. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about the thriller that you're about to embark on.
And so it's definitely more gory thriller, sexy film about toxic masculinity. Kind of like The Bachelor meets American Psycho.
Wow.
Brilliant.
So it's sort of like about female jealousy, and then how women like band together, but they all end up killing each other. So it's like a kind of bachelor horror version, but it's very funny. It's written. We're going to have Ben Blaine write it, who did a film called Nina Forever, which was so talented, and that film obviously did so well at South by Southwest. I think in terms of just having a production company, it's important to have like a number of projects on the go, just because you never know which one's going to get funding. And so we are very positive about these though, and especially with working with really good people.
That's amazing. It's so lovely to hear as well, and I totally agree with you not to just have one project. If you have 3, you can spread out your pain and hurt. When one project falls down or something happens, you can go, it's all right with the other one, let's push on that one for a bit, and then the other one might drive up again. But if you've got one, it hurts too much, man. I've been there. It's horrible. Now I've got about 15 to 20.
I thought you said 50. I thought you said 50 then.
Yeah, no, there's a lot going on. It's good, it's good. But sometimes it can, like I say, there's a lot of projects or there's a lot of things happening. It can get overwhelming. What's your best way to deal with that issue when it does become so overwhelming? How do you change your mindset?
Well, I think with any creative process, you get to a point where you think this is a bad idea, like this isn't working. And I think that's a good point. You have to push through that. It's like a difficult point. And if you push through, you'll come up, because every idea comes against those challenges and you just have to keep going.
Yeah, I think we have the F ... fill in the blanks K theory, where it's like, if you, you maybe do something wrong, and then, you have the bucket theory, which is like, well, we tried it and it didn't work. So, let's move on and do something else and try that. Because as a creative, you never really know, like, what's going to work on screen. I mean, you have a pretty good idea, but sometimes it just doesn't. And I think, kill your darlings is like a phrase that you have to adopt a lot of the time. And I think sometimes you can get into your head about things that don't work, and maybe we spent loads of money like shooting or many scripts that we've developed that just haven't got there with the writer, unfortunately. And the ideas are amazing, but just it's important also to know when to just
cut the fat.
Cut the fat.
Get out.
I think that's actually one of the hallmarks of successful creatives and entrepreneurs, is to be able to choose talent and people that you're working with. I think Richard Branson says it, where he's like, Virgin would be nothing without the people that I work with. And I think it's the same in film, where the longer you do it, the better ability you have to choose creatives that you're going to work well with and actually be able to work with, like you said, for that amount of time, and B, ones that are talented. But I think first and foremost, you have to really be able to have that magical fusion and connection with somebody,
people on the same page and same vision.
And we work with people again and again all the time, because when you find people that you work well with, it's like magic.
Yeah, so true. It's so important to find the right collaborations and the right teams. Yeah. It really is.
Yeah. I was going to make a joke there about working with Giles, and I
fair play to you for not. I'd have taken it. I'd have been like, yeah, all right. I thought across the board the performances were fantastic. It was really nice to see. Sometimes in an indie, someone gets through the net who's, you sort of go, well, they're a friend and we gave them a part, whatever. But here it was really nice to see that across the board, and it's very believable and really well made, and huge congratulations for making this kind of a movie. It's really great, and I'm so pleased it's doing well, and I'm so pleased to have met you too, and the fact you're carrying on and making more is amazing and inspiring to so many other filmmakers out there. So well done.
Thank you so much. Well, thank you for having us, and I'm also going to check out some of your films which I haven't been able to watch yet.
I'd watch The Dare. The Dare's great.
It's not out yet, Lucinda.
Oh, really? I dare you to watch The Dare.
Can we have a little screener when it's
Of course you can. Yeah. It's out in 3 weeks. I think 2.5 weeks.
God. Are you planning? So you'll probably are you planning to do a social distance premiere?
We're now not allowed. Literally the last thing that came through was no, you can't. But I was pushing for it massively. And it's Lionsgate distributing as well, so they would have normally done that, but everyone's being very sort of, we shouldn't do that at the moment, being sensible type thing.
What's really cool actually is doing a Zoom screener where or an online screener where everyone's watching at the same time, and then like coming back on and
doing a Q&A.
Yeah. I think that's actually, a few people have done that. I've been to a few of those, and it's really, they are really well attended, because there's still minimal pubs open and things, and people are still at home. So so that's a good.
We might do. I think we might do that. It's one of those things. Yeah, as long as people can watch it at the same time, but then you're sort of playing it on through Zoom or however, and it's not for anyway. I'll work it out.
It's not as you can't hear those laughs or the boos. Hopefully not.
Well, in my film, you're allowed booze. It's the baddie, throwing tomatoes at their own screen. Oh, it's amazing. Where can people find you on the socials then, to say hello and like say your company, and they can come and knock on your door and ask for help?
On Instagram, it's at Clean State Productions.
And then we're also on Amazon, Daddy Issues. It's the one directed by Laura Holiday.
Because weirdly, there's another one came out almost the same time called Daddy Issues. I was like,
I know.
Yeah. Well, that's a whole nother thing that we could get into. But yeah, the long and the short is that try not to call your film anything that might be a popular title. But, it's also gone in our favour in certain ways. But so it's available on Amazon. It's available on iTunes. And if you're in America, it's available there. Also in Turkey. Where else? Saudi Arabia. We got good distribution across the world. So
that's amazing. We have listeners from all over the world. So absolutely, wherever you're in the world, search out Daddy Issues. Absolutely, the Datnow sisters. Just maybe put that in. I'm sure that'll find it. Absolutely. Amazing. Thank you so much, girls. This has been amazing. So much advice and so much inspiration to people. So thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thanks, ladies.
Lucinda, where can we follow you?
You can follow me at Lucinda R. Thakra.
And you can follow me at Charles Alderson, or you can follow the podcast at Filmmakers Pod. Remember, go out there and make your film. You can make it happen. And if you're lucky enough to rise up, it is your duty to send the elevator back down. We will see you next Tuesday. As always, thank you so much for joining us and listening. Be inspired by the girls. Take care, everyone. Bye, girls.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.